right, everybody, we got another one for you. Shazam! Fury of the Gods. That's what we're gonna talk about today, and I'm gonna be brutally honest about this one. I took a full day just to kind of get my thoughts together. It's kind of one of those instances where I needed to do that. I didn't write anything down. These are just thoughts off of my head. So this is still an honest reaction, just a day later. So with that being said, like I said, I'm gonna be brutally honest with this one, and let's just get into it. Here we go. All right, Shazam! Fury of the Gods. First, I want to start with this movie is very enjoyable. It's a family movie. If you loved the first one, you're probably gonna love this one. There wasn't too much that kind of strayed away from the formula that made the first one successful. There was a lot of different things. The story is basically about the family of Shazam, Billy Batson and his family, and them taking on the daughters of Atlas, right? They're apparently the wizard that gave Shazam his powers, stole the powers and all this stuff. So there's gonna be a little bit of spoilers in this. So I just want to say that right now. Not too much. I'm not gonna give away the ending, but which DC kind of already did. We'll talk about that in a minute. But here it goes. So while I did enjoy the movie and I did think that it was fine and fun and great for the kids, as a DC comic book reader, and I'm not one of those people that says like, oh, it has to stick to the actual material. I get creative freedom. I get making things your own and things like that. There were things in this movie that I just didn't like, and a big one is the dialogue. Or maybe it's more of a directorial choice rather than it is a material choice. Like when talking about Shazam, I'll give you an example, and I don't know why this happens in movies. Let me give you the example first, and I'll explain. At the very beginning of a movie, and again, spoilers. It's not even a big spoiler, but the very beginning of the movie, I forgot the kid's name that has the crutch. Again, unscripted. So he meets a girl, right? And the girl takes interest in him, and she tells him the best thing about him is you, right? Like, oh, that's sweet, right? We get it. Cool, right? Fast forward to the end of the movie. She's in trouble or whatever, and then he recites the same thing, but like the music dims and it's like so focused on his words, and it just comes off as very fucking cheesy, and like I literally slapped my head in the theaters because it's like, ugh, right? And this is what I was gonna say earlier, is like I get one-liners, and I understand that there's a creative or directorial choice or need or want to have those things inside your films, but I don't get it when they're hammered in so cheesily. And one-liners are cheesy, but this was just very cringe. And I started thinking, and I was like, after the movie, I just couldn't, like, it was unsettling to me. It was that cringy. Like, I don't understand if it's in a contract when a director or a writer or whoever is going to be producing these movies or whatever. I don't know if it's like a creative thing where they have to say, and it's in the contract that says like, oh, you have to have this many one-liners, or you have to have this many cheesy things inside of it. Whatever that is, it needs to go. Like, I think it ruins the wholesomeness of the movie. It ruins, even as an adult, as somebody that, wants to love and appreciate these kind of movies, it takes away from the story that goes on. You're just like, oh, for crying out loud, like, Jesus fucking Christ. Like, it happened and I guess this is where I guess I'm not even angry, right? I guess this is where my position is why my position is so strong on this is because last week I saw Scary Movie 6, and the whole time I enjoyed the film, but again, it's the writing, it's the directorial choices of how they do things in movies. So while right now I'm talking about Shazam, and I'm not even talking about the movie, I'm talking about the directorial choice as to why or how they did certain things in terms of like the script. um it 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 was just shit, if I'm being quite honest. It was shit. The story is pretty solid. Okay, going back into Shazam, story is pretty solid. You get to see Billy Batson, kind of take in a different role because he's more of a wholesome family guy now that he's gonna become 18 in this movie. He's 17 turning 18, what they say, in like 5 months according to that timeline. Whereas, in the first one, they really but they really hit you with the fact that he's, in foster care. He's a troubled kid because he's going in and out of houses, but then also like he's trying to find his mom, and so he doesn't really have a family. They make that pretty evident in the first one. And in this one, you see him take a different role, and that he embraces the family thing, which is pretty fucking amazing, right? And they show his progression from his mental state from that aspect, and that's great. You see the progression of how the kids develop and become acclimated with their powers. So that was pretty awesome. You definitely get to see Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu kind of be badasses, and I have to say they did a pretty solid job. I loved Lucy Liu. It's kind of weird to say. I've seen plenty of Lucy Liu's work, but I don't ever remember her having a very deep voice like that, like a very menacing deep voice. And she did a pretty solid job as playing the villain. Helen Mirren, she's played a villain before in Fast and the Furious series, movie franchise or whatever. So I kind of expected her to kind of act the same. She did a pretty solid job as well, but there's something, again, cringe-worthy directorial choice of how they directed it that I will get into in a minute. But overall, yes, it was a solid script, pretty solid acting here and there. So yeah, go see the movie. It's fun. Don't get me wrong. I'm not hyped and animated for clicks. It's just I'm passionate about this kind of stuff, right? And I will be the first person to tell you that I am not like I don't follow Shazam that well enough to know, but I love movies, right? And some of these things that the director chose to put inside of this movie were just kind of very cringe and just like not needed. And for me, it just took away from all of that. And there's gonna be people that are gonna disagree with me, and that's very, very fine. And for them, they might have just loved all of the cheesiness, right? All of that crap that I'm complaining about, or and that's cool. But just for me, it took away my experience. Maybe it's because I'm going to movies pretty frequently, and I'm just seeing this pattern play out all the time. Like another thing, like the that I really just didn't like. There's certain superhero movies, and not even just superhero movies, when you have like a scene where there's like mass chaos, a lot of people. There's for some reason there's a camera that focuses on one specific extra, right? And it just focuses on them, not necessarily that they're part of the story, but like it just that experience that's happening at that moment. Like in Superman, there was that other reporter lady that was part of Lois Lane's company that got stuck under the rubble. Man of Steel, I'm sorry. Just things like that. Like the camera just stays focuses on them. Well, like in this one, again, the camera stays focused on a couple of extras, and like the roots of the tree are like coming, and then like it slows, and then she's like we get it, we've seen it before. Like, how many times are you gonna beat a dead horse with that kind of shot? Or like there was a woman that she's like standing there, and she's like looking and just looking and looking, and it's like run, bitch. Like what are you doing? Like, I mean, it's just not practical in my opinion. And I get it, this is a superhero movie. There's no bitching and complaining with like how fake it is, but and I know, like I said, it's fake, but I'm trying to bring reality into it. But I just feel like even in a superhero aspect, like if you're flipping through comic books and you actually look at the illustrations, you see people running. They're not standing there like and waiting for something to happen. No, bitch, like I'm getting my ass out of there. I'm not waiting to see what's sprouting from the roots of this tree. Like, no, I'm not doing that. If I see something funny, I'm booking it. I'm getting out of there. So that sorry, my dog is barking. So that was just not needed. So for me, it was there was things like that in the movie that were just very cringe to me, and I just did not like it at all. And I think that, you know, Hollywood needs to figure some kind of other formula that works, because it's getting played out. For once, I would like to just see a hero movie and just be that, rather than having these little added things that are, in my opinion, take away. And again, there's going to be people that are not going to agree with me, and that's perfectly fine. But this is just my take on it. And but I feel like, as much cringe as there was in this movie, there's a lot of better parts, a lot of better things in this movie that that happened that you know, I'm not speaking about. And it's only because, like, I just in the experience that I got, it wasn't the same. Sorry, I had to check my dog real quick because he was barking. But anyways, I'm back. Yeah, it just didn't do it for me. I apologize. That's not to say that this movie was bad. I thought it was pretty good. I think it's been reported that it's not gonna do like huge numbers in the box office, which, you know, sometimes things are not about numbers, like, you know. And I think that this movie just really cared about bringing like a wholesome feel to it, and just really just being fun. And a lot of the jokes were funny. When they introduced Steve, that was funny. But yeah, you know, nothing. All the positives of the first movie are there still. And I don't know. I think those things are just cringe to me, and it just kind of really took away from my experience. And here's another thing that I didn't like, and these are, when it comes to Shazam, when I'm speaking about Shazam and my honest reaction, this is about the movie in this part. I didn't like the CGI in this movie in some parts. In some parts it was great, and I really feel like they used their whole budget on the final part of the movie, because it was pretty solid. Like, the dragon looked amazing, the lighting effects looked amazing. You know, Billy charging at the dragon like as if he was Superman charging with the spear at Doomsday in Batman v Superman. That kind of reminded me of that. So I don't know if there was kind of any kind of sorry about that. Had to put my little Poochie away. He was just barking for some reason. But anyways, what I was trying to say is, I think that there was some kind of dynamics there, or some kind of like nod or ode to Superman when Billy charged at the dragon, and what is her name? I'm gonna butcher her name. Helena, I think it is, or something like that. One of the daughters, which is played by Lucy Liu. That looked pretty cool, but there were a lot of parts in that movie that were just like really, really bad, and I don't understand, you know. And maybe it's a timing thing, right? Maybe these studios, or these DC and Marvel, are not giving their people enough time to actually do good work and put it out there. I'm a graphic designer by trade. I'm an art director, and I've been printed on ESPN magazine, and, you know, I've have good work out there that is solid and pretty complete. I would never put anything out there that is not solid or complete, or that I'm unhappy with, you know. And I don't understand how big companies like this can feel that way, you know, like and feel like, oh, okay, you know, especially when people are paying like $20 to see it in IMAX. Like, hello, in IMAX you're gonna see all those flubs, those imperfections, you're gonna see it. And for me, that kind of took away, but it wasn't like part of the story, it wasn't part of the script. It was, again, cinematography and directorial's choice, which what boils this honest reaction down to it. Now, one thing that I did hate about the script that just stuck with me even after was when and spoiler, when Helen Mirren's character dies. So she gets stabbed, right? Pretty bad by the dragon. And then, I don't know, let's say like the fight takes 5 minutes. She's laying down on the roof of a fucking building for like, let's say an entire 5 minutes, maybe 10. I don't know how long the fight was. And then like the way she dies, and this is when, again, directorial's choice, like when she dies, she's like, she says something like, finally a god worth it or something. And then it's like, Jesus fucking Christ, like, you're a director. What in your brain makes you think that that looks good? Like, that's, oh, yep, that's the shot. That's the shot that we want for this final thing. Yep. Like, what, and what, like, I don't get it. And these people that are directors and writers and all this stuff, I feel like they weren't never in this position that they're in, you know, their entire lives. They had to work to get there. And at some point, just like me, when I was starting my career, I was very very eager to learn, very, you know, and all this stuff, and, you know, looking at great things and had a strong opinion on things, and, you know, and whenever I saw something that was like, you know, especially like if I was directing a Batman movie, I wouldn't do some of the things that they did, because I read Batman, like I love Batman, but like, my point is, if you're a fan of something and if you're doing something, how do you not see in your own work that this does not look good? Like, this does, like, simply these choices that I'm making to say, yep, this shot right here of Helen Mirren killing over after 5 minutes of laying down and just kind of works. Like, how do you not see that, like, that doesn't work? Like, or, you know, I just don't get it. And I'm pretty positive, because I've shot commercials before. I'm pretty fucking positive there's other takes. Now, whether there's things in the background like my dog barking, or you know, the angle wasn't right or something, still you gotta look at the script and be like, you know what, this is horrible. We need to like send her off in a different way. Whatever that is, I don't know. I'm not a director of movies. I don't write scripts. I'm just, like I said, I'm just giving my honest reaction. And again, this is something that just kind of like killed it for me. I went to go see it with a friend and her son, right? And me and her son looked at each other, and we both said, and he's about the age that this movie is targeted to, the demographic of this movie. And like, we looked at each other and we literally said at the same time, dumb. Like, that's how bad it was. And I really wish that Hollywood would take a step back and look at these scenes and these things and be like, you know what, this is kind of ass. Maybe we should not do this. And as much reshoots as people, especially superhero movies, do nowadays, I don't see how they don't go back and say, okay, you know what, we need to fix this part. If they're doing like endings reshoots, why not just do reshoots for the parts that you think that are okay, but then you're still kind of doubting, and be like, you know what, we gotta reshoot this. Like, this is just horrible. But yeah, I mean, that, I like I said at the very beginning, I'm gonna be brutally honest, and this is my honest reaction. I really took a day just to kind of see if this is how I felt in the movie. I mean, about the movie afterwards, like after some time of sitting and just kind of maybe tossing some ideas around with, you know, family, friends, and whatnot. And yeah, I still feel the same. And you know, my comments may not even be directly related to the Shazam movie, and maybe it's just related to the studios and the directorial choices and things like that. But in my opinion, I mean, those choices that showed up in this movie are what, you know, make people react and make people give you a bad score. I don't know what it is, but it's not my movie and I didn't direct it, and I hope this doesn't rub people the wrong way. I know it's pretty lengthy, but again, this is just my honest reaction, my opinion. I'm sure you guys have your own opinion, and you might have thought this was the world's best superhero movie. I don't know. And if you did, that's great. Everybody's entitled. So if you didn't agree with me, let me know how wrong I am. But please be nice, because I just love movies, and I love I love DC so much, and I think that's where another reason why I'm so passionate about this is because I love DC, and I don't expect them to ever be on the same like level as Marvel, but there's no reason why they can't. And it just seems like they put their foot in their mouth, or like they trip over their own feet, whether it's marketing, whether it's directors leaving a project, whether it's shitty scripts, whether it's the studio interfering with directors coming together, like interfering with the movie and having their outtakes, where to the point where you have to have a director's cut, like, you know, like with the whole Snyderverse thing. You know, it was bad. And I'll give you an example of that. They ruined the fact that Wonder Woman was gonna make an appearance in this movie. Like, why? Like to me it makes no sense. It makes no sense, and I don't understand the decision making. And mind you, I will say that this is pre James Gunn, right? So it could get fixed. I don't know. Do I have high hopes? Sure, because it's James Gunn. But at the same time, again, like I said, I don't understand why DC can't be on the same level. I'm not expecting it to be on the same level as Marvel, but I don't understand why it can't be on it. Yeah, I mean, that's really what it is. I think it's all this boils down to, like I said, directorial choice. I don't know. I see, like, even now, like I get like flustered because like I guess I'm passionate about DC, and you know, they need a win so bad, and I feel like this was kind of a swing and a miss for me. I mean, if I was reviewing it and giving it a rating, I honestly would probably give it probably like a 2.5 or 3 out of 5 maybe, and that's only because it is a family movie and it is watchable for kids. So, but anyways, sorry again if that was too honest, but I will say all the actors did a fine, magnificent job for the roles that they played. Very surprised with Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu as being the villains. Yeah, I mean, see, I'm still at a loss for words. But yeah, that's my honest reaction. So if it was less about Shazam the movie, I apologize. And if it was more about the, like I said, the directorial choices, the studio's choices and all that good stuff, then, you know, it might need to be said. And again, I think they're tripping over their own feet, and hopefully they correct it. Anyways, that being said, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Hope to see you next week. Next week we're doing John Wick 4, I believe it is. Yeah, coming out next Friday. Yeah, I think it's next Friday. So be on the lookout for that. If you like videos like this, shoot me a subscribe, and yeah, overall, just let me know what you thought about this movie, and if you agree with me. If you don't, cool. Let's just spark a conversation. So have a good weekend, and we'll catch you next week with I think it's John Wick 4. I could be wrong, but yeah, we'll catch you again. Spread that love. All right, guys. Later.